right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Nurse Charms Live. I am your host, Nurse Charms. For those of you who are joining me for the first time, welcome, welcome. It's always a pleasure to have new people on my comment feed. Let's see, the comment feed is open. Boom. Okay, so this is a live Q&A. You get to interact with my guests who I'm going to be introducing in just one moment. So if you all have any questions, feel free to just pop one over on the comment feed, ask whatever you like, and we'll get to it. If we run out of time for whatever reason, we'll circle back and we'll answer your questions for you. Okay, so I always ask everyone to share this video, please. I'm trying to spread the word and, just thank you for all of your support. I'm going on my 19th taping, my 19th episode. So, you guys have been encouraging me and you guys are the reason why I do this every day. So please share this video. We have a lot going on that we're going to discuss. I've been kind of changing gears a little bit. I've been having lots of nurses and doctors on here, but I'm still sticking with the theme of COVID. But I've decided to bring in different people, business owners, entrepreneurs, people in finance and different areas so they can talk about, how COVID has impacted them as well. So I always give this disclaimer before I get started that I'm not being endorsed. I almost said divorced. I'm like, wait. Okay, so neither one of us are being endorsed. So our thoughts are our own. This is for educational purposes. Nobody's paying us to say these things. We hope that we can add value to you. So with that being said, we'll just go ahead and get started. Jonathan, what is up? How are you doing?
I'm doing.
You are great energy. I'm so excited and pumped to be talking to you tonight.
I'm doing pretty fair for a square out here, getting it done. Still doing, got to stay in the house, but you can still get work done.
All right. Oh, and let me just warn you, I got some very smart people on my thread. Somebody already starting. They asking you what's COVID. So all of these questions are for you to answer. Oh, and let me make a disclaimer. If I give any health info out, also follow up with your primary care physician. Okay, I don't want to hold any liabilities. I don't want what happened with that whole bleach thing or whatever. I don't want anybody saying Nurse Charms told me to do something.
I want to start by saying, if somebody is asking you what COVID is, don't ask me. I don't know. I don't know as much as they don't. That's smart. You ask what COVID is. Google. That's what I'm gonna tell you.
You're so hilarious. All right, so go ahead and introduce yourself. I always have my guests introduce themselves because I don't want to mess up. You have a lot going on, and I don't want to forget anything. So go ahead.
Oh man, so I'm gonna be fast. What I do professionally is that I am a professional speaker, and somebody will always ask and say, "Well, what's the difference between somebody who said they're a motivational speaker and a professional?" The difference is I get paid to do it.
All right, money.
And I'm a professional. My keynote speaking fee is $10,000 an hour plus.
Wait, hold on. What? $10,000?
My keynote speaking fee, if you try to book me to come in and speak for your organization, is $10,000.
All right.
You go to jonathanedison.com to get that information. I am also a 12-time author. And over the 18 years that I've been speaking and writing, I've sold over 50,000 books.
That is amazing.
Worldwide, with no agent, no affiliates and people. It's just people love my product, and we put it out all over the world.
Oh my gosh. That is amazing. I gotta get a production crew over here. So anyone want to sponsor the show? Because you need one of those round of applause clappers. Go
ahead. Several of my books. As a matter of fact, my best-selling book, which is called Survival Mode, it is required reading in over 14 different school districts around the planet, including Pontiac schools locally.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
In addition to that, I've written a children's book series called The Big Adventures of John John.
Oh, how cute.
Boom!
So you got your own doll. Oh my God.
We got dolls over here, man. We got dolls. And we've got the big John John that goes out to schools all over the planet. If you go on my Facebook, you'll see all that stuff. We're kind of all over. We even have the John app that you can go to and kids can read along with John. And I actually read the book to kids. In addition to that, I wrote a book
Yes.
for parents. It's called The Parent Companion, a super homework dictionary for parents. In addition to that, we've got curriculum that goes into the schools that's also into several school districts around the planet. And I would say, finally, I'm also a curriculum developer. I'm going to turn my camera so you guys can see something. This right here is some curriculum that I developed. It's called the 9 Pathways of
Oh my
Success.
gosh.
And
Oh my gosh.
these 9 pathways of success, I don't want to jump ahead, but it took me 7 years to develop it, over $250,000 of my own money to do it. We just finished it. And then it will be rolling out. As a matter of fact, I was supposed to give a huge speech to the Kentucky Department of Education because they're going to put my system, my curriculum, in over 1,000 schools in Kentucky. So COVID, dropped a bomb on us, but it's all good. But that's what I do. I speak, I write. I'm an entrepreneur. I got my hands in a couple of different businesses, but I don't want to steal the thunder because I want you to ask me some questions, but that's who I am. A couple of points to all of this. I went to all Detroit public schools. I graduated high school to 1.6. I did
1.6.
I did my first year of college with a 0.82. I was homeless for a period of time. My mother had some challenges with drugs and alcohol. My father left. I was raised by my grandmother. I had to take remedial classes to get into community college. And then I had to live in my aunt's basement and pay her $50 a month in rent. And we've gone from all of that to now being a student at Harvard and living in the mansion. I'm just saying, God is good.
I'm listening to you talking about you had a 1-point-something GPA, a 0 point, and then I'm like, he's got on a Harvard. Like, how do you swing that?
You got to be a beast out here.
That is amazing. So listen, we have a lot of viewers right now, and then we have people on the thread. Let me just come over here for a quick second. Brooke, what's up, Brooke? He's saying, what's COVID? You got to take your best stab at it. Wait a minute. Let me put this up here on the screen. Okay.
Question. Give me something else. I'm serious.
Okay, hold on. Let me come over here again. Brooke, he knows what COVID is. He's just challenging you. Oh, he says only 50,000. Okay, Brooke, you have jokes. Let's see.
I think that's
Tangela. Yeah, everybody has different rates. They charge based on their value. That's speakers. They have their speaker value, speaker fees. Brooke says 10K is reasonable. Yeah, so just some conversation going on. Looks like Douglas is saying hi. So it looks like you got somebody over here knows you. Somebody, Andrea, she says, oh my God, Jonathan Edison, he's awesome. And his mom was a nurse at my school, a real MVP.
Let me say something about my mother. And I think I told you, she graduated top of her class as a nurse at one of the most difficult nursing programs on the planet, which is U of D. If you guys check that out, and she's a beast. That's where I get it from. She's super smart, super intelligent. She was actually tutoring students in her class. So whoever put that post up is absolutely right. She is an MVP.
Yeah, and Andrea just says beautiful testimony. Joan says congratulations. She's giving you a salute. And
thank you, Madam Joan.
Let's see, same thing. Joan, she says good night. Joan is going to bed. All right. Always a pleasure to have you on the thread here. Douglas says, what a testimony, and thanks for sharing. Yeah, that is amazing. I mean, you don't hear stories like that. That is just amazing. Okay, so we're talking about COVID tonight, and you're going to be giving some motivational
Mhm.
words. I'm going to be asking you some questions, but first I want to ask you, how have you been? Have you been impacted by COVID? Well, you did tell me you had a speaking engagement, so just get into that a little bit. How have you
Well,
been impacted by COVID?
I've been impacted like everyone else. If you're in business, you're an entrepreneur, or if you work for someone, either way. But um, closer to home for me, the biggest thing is seeing my kids not being able to go to school. That's the
Right,
biggest thing. And second to that is my business, and my business is being in front of people. Kind of like I was talking to a good friend of mine who's a comedian. He's a traveling comedian. He does 100 shows, 125 shows a year, and we just talked about that. Like, I get my energy from people. So when I'm on stage and they're back and forth and we're going at it, oh man, it is amazing. So the 15 gigs that I had planned that were already booked and in the books, all of them were postponed. So I mean, like I said, for the big one that was coming up for July in Kentucky, I was going to give a speech to every superintendent, principal, and teacher in the state of Kentucky, about
wow.
10,000 people, and it got postponed. So that's how it's impacting me. I mean, I can't go out there and do what I love to do, or I mean, like I like to do it, because again, I've been doing this 18 years, and it started with me pretending I was a speaker, imagining that I was a speaker, walking behind my house at Harbor Town, talking to the Detroit River, imagining that the river was a sea of people, and
Right.
to turn that into a sea of people. And now I can't go out and do it. So that's how my business and I personally have been impacted. I love inspiring people.
Yeah, and that's so amazing. And everything you said is so true, because you don't really become until you believe it. It's like you have to have that faith. You have to have that inner faith, like, oh, I know this is gonna happen. Start thinking it now. Don't wait until you get there. Birth it in your mind before it even happens. Yeah, so let's see. We have a comment over here from Thomas. Hey, Thomas. He says, I remember you back in 2002 touring. Look at you. You're a big time celebrity. All these people
Man,
shouting you out
Big
with
Thomas,
Les Brown.
listen,
Good
man.
job.
Let me tell
Grinding.
you, I wasn't touring with Les Brown. I was carrying Les Brown's luggage. So I was
Wow.
doing. But I'm gonna tell you about Les Brown. He is the GOAT. I don't care who you've heard, what you've heard, what people think they know. This dude is the GOAT. Period. When it comes to speaking, telling stories, inspiring people. And man, I was lucky enough to meet him, and we hit it off because we had some of the same personality. And he told me, hey, if you want to learn, you come and roll with me. And I did. He was like, go get me some coffee, go do this and go do that and go do this and go do that. And I did it. And he would give me 5 minutes. He would give me 10 minutes. And I'll be honest, in 2002, I didn't know what I was doing, because remember, that's when I first started. I had no idea what I was doing. All I knew was, you find the best, or you find a captain to show you how to be a captain. And that dude is a captain and a general. And I was trying to learn from him everything I could.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Donald just says he's a firm believer you can read from a book and teach yourself. Yep, that's true. That's true. Sino, much love to you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you checking me out tonight. That's what's up. So listen, let's just get back into some of the questions I have for you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you've been watching the news and keeping your finger on the pulse about what's been going on. A lot of people want to get back to work. People are restless, especially, people who own businesses. They just worried about, potentially losing their businesses and, not having money to put food on the table and all of that stuff. So people have, began to start protesting. You've been hearing in different states, different cities, people are protesting. They're protesting these lockdown orders because most of them got started. I know California was one of the first states to initiate it. Us here in Michigan, we did ours. What was it, like March 23rd or something like that? So yeah, now it is May, almost the end of May, and so we're still in this lockdown posture. And so, how do you feel about these protests? Some of them have seemed like almost violent because with the rifles or whatever, but the police have reported that there hasn't been any type of violence, but it just seems a little bit threatening.
So for me in particular, I'm a little different, and what I mean by that is I don't watch the news. So that's a tough question for me, but I'm not in a place where I'm not paying attention. So in paying attention, because I'm required to pay attention if I'm going to speak to a group of people I've never met, and I'm a big time researcher. I love researching information. So here's what I know. The curve hasn't flattened. And I would rather be safe in my house and behind on my rent versus 6 feet deep. A very good friend of mine who actually works for me, he had to bury his father very recently
Wow, because of COVID?
At his father's church, praise the Lord, they decided to do something different and hold service and laying hands on people, and 13 people died.
Oh, wow.
And they had to have a drive-through funeral. Only one person could come by at a time. And he was upset, and he was hurt, and he was crying. And I'm going to say this, and I'm at a place in my life where I'm just going to be honest with people, because my grandmama told me if you be honest, you can sleep good at night.
Right.
I had told him and his daddy, be safe. You can praise the Lord anywhere. It says that in the Bible, my grandmama used to read to me. But y'all chose to do that, and his daddy died a week ago. So how I feel about it is, and I'm a humanist. Everybody's got a title for themselves. I love human beings. I love people. And as a humanist, I don't want to see anybody bury any of their loved ones. So if you don't know, in Michigan right now, you cannot be evicted. Okay? If you don't know, in Michigan, you can go to a food bank and get food. They are pumping food down there like crazy. So don't make it be about that. Make it be about your health, your safety, you being there for your babies, you being there for your loved ones, you being there for your spouse. Make it be about that, not that you want to get out in the streets. That's really the problem, but I ain't gonna get into that. I'm just saying, for me, yeah, I see the protests, and Big Gretch shut it down. So sometimes as human beings and individuals, we got to get to a place where we don't go with the crowd. We got to find a place, and as my grandmother would say, you go with God and not crowd. And that's how I feel about it. Somebody might feel different about that. I have friends who watch the news every day and they take in every single thing that's coming out. That's not me. I don't do it. And it's a choice. It's a personal choice. Hope that answers your question.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like you're not in support of people congregating on the state capitol with weapons, and but I mean, it is what it is. I mean, people have their right to, people have their First Amendment rights, but I guess it's just how you go about doing it, So
I have several firearms and licenses and all of that, and I can stand on my front porch and do all of that, or go to the Capitol and do all that. That's not something I choose to do. in one of my classes in social psychology, it talks about that when one person is inflamed, it only takes one more person to draw a group. So that's what we're seeing. We're seeing, and what it's called in social psychology is the mob mentality.
Yeah.
Right. And that is what gets the most attention. And I think what's not being shown is that how many people we do have staying at home and being safe and taking care of their kids. You know, one of the big challenges is right now for people, just to be, completely transparent and honest, is that most people, men and women, don't spend time with their kids. Don't spend time cooking. Don't know what it is to go to the grocery store, come home and cook some food. And they're
Yeah.
freaking out. They're freaking out. That's what a lot of this is. And then a lot of people have habits and pathways of doing different things and different behaviors,
Yeah.
drugs, cocaine, women, this and that, and they can't get to it and they freaking out. That's
Yeah.
part of the problem too. But,
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the things we learn about this coronavirus is that it doesn't matter what color you are, it doesn't matter how much money you have, doesn't matter your celebrity status, your religion, politics, any of that. It can infect anybody. Because I mean, we've seen some of everybody, basketball players, celebrities. I mean, we've seen so many people get infected, and you just kind of think. I mean, I think Tom Hanks was one of the first celebrities with it. Maybe I may be wrong, but
Idris Elba.
Right. Him and Tom Hanks. I think they were two of the first celebrities. But anyway, saying all that, we've seen it bring out the best in some of us. We've seen it bring out the worst in some of us. But how can we use this pandemic to create a sense of unity and humanity? Like, what can we walk away learning from this pandemic?
Well, I think one of the most interesting things I've seen, as far as apparel, you see all these masks and shirts, and one I love, it says Detroit versus everybody. And then I saw a guy had a mask on. I went to Sam's Club to kind of like try to stock up and get some stuff, and the guy had a mask, and it said everybody versus Corona. And I was like, that's backwards. It's Corona versus everybody. And understanding that and coming to the realization of that will make you a better human being. It will make you compassionate. But it's not until we all begin to understand that. For example, as I was pulling out of Sam's Club, right at the corner before you make the right, there was 6 people. It was 3 women and 3 children, and they had a sign. And the lady, and on that sign, it had a list. She said, "We will take diapers. We will take milk. We will take food. We will take anything." And you saw cars just hitting that right. And I was like, man, no, I didn't have diapers and any of that stuff in my car. Yeah. I had water. So I pulled over, I set the water out, I was social distance, and I pulled off. And the moment I did that, 2 cars pulled up behind me. And I'm talking, that was earlier today.
Oh, wow.
If we can get to a place in a social mindset that the virus is against us, and we as human beings have to be better, that is what we'll have. Pathway 3 in my system that I built, the curriculum that I built, is titled Teamwork Makes the Dream Work. And team stands for together, everyone achieves miracles.
Miracles. I like that. Yeah. Hold on. Let me pop over here in our comment feed. Let's see. We got Roderick here. What's up, Roderick? Thank you. I appreciate you. Eric, he says, "What's up, Nurse Charms? What's up?" Let's see. Thomas, he has a question. He says, "How do you keep yourself motivated when situation seems bad or everything is against you. That's one part to it. And he says also,
Okay.
how do you overcome fear and rejections?
Oh
So I'll
man.
keep that up
You want me to answer that?
there. Of course, this is Q&A. They
Okay.
here to talk with
I was
you.
just making sure. I want to get ahead of myself. One of the things, it kind of depends on the situation, but in all situations, how to keep yourself motivated is that you got to see yourself in the future. And simply what that means is we live in kind of a microwave society where people think things happen instantaneously and easy. And that's not the real, how success happens. So if that's the case, and the second part to that, Thomas, let me say this. And we also live in a society where there's a large group of people who like to get high. Now, I'm not talking about the drugs out in the world. I'm talking about they like to get high and fool themselves. For example, they'll say things like, "Man, I'm gonna be a millionaire tomorrow." Well, you don't have $100 saved. So God is about moving the zero over. So until you can save $100, you can't make a million. So how you keep yourself motivated? Don't get yourself too high. Don't get yourself too far out there. I was talking to a first-time author on a call like this the other day. I said, "How many books do you want to sell?" She was like, 300,000. That's high. Come down, down. Because the mind is a goal-seeking organism. It's always looking to achieve a goal. So, Thomas, you got a huge goal, break that boy down to like this. For example, I wanted to write my first book. And I was like, okay, how do I do it? I've never done it before. And I was starting to get discouraged. Well, break it down. Can I write a page? One page turns into 2 pages. 2 pages turns into 3 pages. 12 pages turn into a chapter. Chapter turns into 2 chapters. Now I got a book. Now I'm ready to go. But that's how you stay motivated. Seeing yourself in the future, and it's a technique called chunking. You chunk things out, you make them smaller, let the brain go, man, we completed that, boom, then you can move to the next thing. I want to go to the next one. Also, how do you overcome fear and rejection? First, accepting the fact that rejection is a part of the process. You'll always be told no. That's a part of it. I have a video, Thomas, I'm going to send to you that I did on my Facebook page, and it's titled, "You Don't Know How Far God Will Take You."
Oh,
And
I think I remember that. Yeah, that was awesome. Oh my gosh. I think I watched that like 4 times. That was great.
and, and the premise of it is the same place that I used to eat off plates at twice a week is the same place that also rejected me initially, but then I also graduated from twice. So rejection is a part of it, but that's why you got to see yourself in the future beyond that rejection. But that's a Reader's Digest version of a big answer. Thank you, Thomas, for your
Yeah, no,
question.
that was good. Eric is silly. He missed this calling to be a comedian.
See, that's why Eric want to know what COVID is, because that's all he on his mind.
No, that wasn't Eric. That was
No.
actually Brooke. And I
That
don't
was
know what
Brooke.
happened.
Oh man.
Yeah, I don't know if Brooke's still on here. Hey, beautiful. Thank you. Appreciate you. Let's see. Oh, what's up, girl? Hey, Ebony. She says rejection is part of success. Would you agree with that?
I would agree. One of my biggest stories that I tell to inspire people is a very quick one, and that's when I decided and I got it in my mind that I wanted to be a classroom teacher. If you don't know, to be a classroom teacher, you have to pass the teacher certification test. Okay, that's the only way you can get a contract and call yourself a teacher. I took it the first time, failed it. Took it the second time, failed it. Took it the third time, failed it. Took it the fourth time, failed it. I'll fast forward it. I took that test 13 times.
Dang. And you
But
kept
don't feel
going,
bad.
kept taking.
But don't feel bad for me, because on 14, I was hot on 14. I was on fire on 14. And
Oh my.
sometimes you don't get it because there's always a problem. the first time I took it, I think the weather was off. Second time I took it, I think I parked in the wrong parking space. Third time I took it, I think my stomach wasn't feeling good. There's always something. But you know what? The question is, are you going to stay in? Are you going to stay in? But the rejection is part of it.
Yeah, that's so true. Ebony just showing some love here. She says, "Oh wow, 13 times." Yep. So listen, there's a quote that I've heard. Basically, it says that people are made during hard times. Would you agree with that, or would you agree that hard times reveal the greatness that's already inside of us?
Oh man, that's a good one. I actually would agree with both because that's who we are in society. My former pal, Police Athletic League basketball coach, 14 and under, Mike Quick, big shout out. He would say, "Pressure busts a pipe."
Right.
And
I've
that,
always heard that. And this is a similar quote. Yeah.
right? So when you put pressure on people, it really reveals who they are deep down. Because here's what you got to know, and it's something that we're not taught, is that when you meet somebody, you're not meeting the real them.
Right. I agree with
You're
that.
meeting a representative. The
Right.
real them is what's below, the subconscious, what's in the heart, who a person really is, and what they've
Uh-huh.
recorded over time. So whatever in your heart, when pressure comes, it's what's going to reveal itself. And to be honest with you, um, I won't badge anybody or go either way on it. I'll just say this: no one was prepared for anything like this
I,
psychologically.
right.
Psychologically, and I'm one. I've read and I've studied, and this is what I do for a profession. As a matter of fact, what I study at Harvard is the psychology of human performance, which is the essence of why people do what they do. And even me, I have bad days, so that's a
Right.
part of it. The
Right.
question is, can you embrace that and then keep moving forward?
Right. And speaking of psychology, we have the doctor herself,
Michelle
Dr.
Leno.
Oh, yeah. She says, "That's inspiring, Jonathan. My cousin has taken the test twice and failed. I have to share your story with him." Yeah, see, look at you.
13. He a rookie. You better keep taking that test.
Corey says, "Good people. I hope all is well with the two of you." Yes, yes. All is well, and all is well now that you're here, Corey. Thank you. Ebony, she says, "Hard times also humble a lot of people, and hopefully they can take heed to what path they decide to take from there." I agree with that. You agree with that?
I agree with that.
Um,
The other side of that is hard times make people hard. It make people a beast. You go from survival mode to beast mode in hard times. If not me, for me living in my car for a period of time, I wouldn't be who I am. If not me having to pay my aunt, it was interesting. I did a talk show, and the lady said, "Wow, your aunt charged you $50 a month in rent when you were 14 years old." The nerve of her. And I said, not only that did she charge me $50 a month, she told me if I was late one day, she was going to put my butt out. And the lady was like, "Oh my God, that is horrible." But let me tell you, if not for that, I don't have almost a virtually perfect credit score because I pay my bills on time. So
all
at
right.
14, she taught me you get put out if you don't pay. Well, I've been paying ever since. I have a 832 credit score, top 3% in the world because of
That
Deborah R. Dotson.
That is amazing. Good habits. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody definitely needs good spending habits because it'll save you a lot of money in the long run. Ebony, she just says yes, she agrees with you. Um, so listen, we're talking about everybody being on lockdown, some people being in quarantine as they recover from the virus or whatever. But speaking on
Mhm.
working from home, it's been a challenge. I've been seeing people talk about it all over social media. You know, you got your kids at home, you got your husband at home, you know, the whole family's home, and you know, you literally got to do some work. This isn't a free for all. You know, even though you're at home, you're still working. So how give us some suggestions on how do you stay focused at work? You know what I'm saying? You got these Zoom. Most people are doing Zoom meetings, or you may have a deadline. Yeah, how do you stay focused?
First of all, let me say big shout out to Karen Webster, who is my wife, because I'm a psychopath. I don't sleep. You know, I'm up all night. I'm loud. I play loud music. I be thinking and writing on walls and stuff. But she doesn't work from home. She works in an office with her geek friends, and they all geek out together. And she's not used to me. And she hasn't stabbed me yet. She hasn't killed me yet. She hasn't poured hot grits on me yet. So big shout out to Karen for that. And even my kids know their daddy is strange, always writing on stuff, always doing stuff. They're like, dang, Dad, we're going to go out and jump on the trampoline. So it is an adjustment for everybody. Like, I'm usually here by myself for a good 10 hours. And I just kind of, if I'm not on the road. But now everybody's piled up on top of each other. I mean, good thing we got a big house, but it is no joke doing this, especially if you have broken your routine of leaving out of the house, going to get a cup of coffee, stopping at your favorite gas station, going into the workplace, parking in your favorite spot, getting on the elevator, sitting at your favorite desk. All of that is a part of the routine that's now snapped.
Right.
So here's my suggestion to get through this.
Yes.
You got to get a little exercise in during. I would suggest go for a quick walk. You know, my kids jump on the trampoline. Even my wife, she started jumping on the trampoline. I'm looking like she ain't never jumped on the trampoline in her life, but she out there on the trampoline so she don't kill nobody. So what you have to do when you feel yourself pressurized, you got to do something to relieve that pressure. Walking, jogging, running in place, get on a Zoom, get on YouTube, do some yoga. I'm a big yoga guy. I created a yoga room downstairs. I put a heater in there, and I got a thing to blow the steam. I locked the door, put towels under there, and I'm in there sweating, doing yoga, just so I can find some sense of normalcy in a system that's not normal. So it's up to us. Let me share this, people. Stop looking for everybody to give you instructions. You know what to freaking do. But sometimes we need some inspiration. And the inspiration is walk, run, do some exercising. And if you don't know what to do, it's a lot of good stuff on YouTube right now.
Yeah.
So don't kill anybody.
Ebony, she just said she should have said though. Those hard times do make you who you are, beast mode or not. I agree. Corey says, I believe hard times do help mold people. So with that being said, why are African Americans still struggling with oppression and systemic racism? Very good question.
Thank you, Corey Joseph. Let me see. So with that being said, why are African Americans still struggling with oppression and racism? You know, Corey, I don't want to get too far out of my lane. I'm the guy that asked that question in a private setting because I have my own individual opinions. But I will say just a couple things that I've noticed doing what I do, traveling the world and trying to impact and inspire people, kids, adults, doesn't matter, is we don't set ourselves up for success in a lot of instances. We waste a lot of time in a lot of instances. We engage in activities that are not productive in a lot of instances. You know, like there's some people, they type so much on Facebook, they could have written 10 books.
Not literally, but yeah, we get your...
Yes, literally. No, yes, literally. Check people's feeds. Don't tell me not literally. Yes, literally. And so because here's what you got to know. In 2020, There's nothing that's inaccessible to us. We can get our hands on everything. The question is, what do you put your hands on? You can go to school online. You can get a degree online. You don't listen. You can work from home. You can build a business from home. You don't even have to be oppressed from your living room.
True.
So that's a whole nother story. But what right? But in a massive sense, Corey, and I understand what you're saying. In a massive sense, you got some real evil people out here who just have challenges with African American people, especially the African American man. Let me say this, and I'll move on because I don't want it to become a political thing. But if you take note, Corey, the United States of America is the only country where you've seen the African American man hung from a tree. You've not seen any other race of human being, male or female, hung from a tree. And so that'll tell you right there about the oppression. So what I would tell my brothers, like a couple of my Jewish friends do with their kids, go to law school. Get as much education as you can. Stop wasting your money. Do everything you can to put yourself in a position to help somebody that looks like you. And I'll leave it right there.
Wow, you just like got all fired up and then you just gonna leave it right there. You're gonna make us have to do a part two. Wow. Corey, he has another comment. He says, Jonathan, we've met several times when I worked for the mayor's office. It's good to see you. I've had several opportunities to hear you speak. You are very motivational.
Hey, Corey, it's hard for me to see you on your photo, but send me a message, man. Send me a thing. I want to connect back with you so we can see what's going on with you. Thank you.
Ebony, she says, yes, working from home can be challenging. I do all of those things, and after work, I'm quarantined to my truck for my nightly drive.
Let me tell you. Listen,
real.
Let me tell you. I go for a drive every day. I love to drive and the air to blow on me. Like sometimes when I have short trips, like Chicago, Indiana, if it's under 5 hours, I don't take a plane. I like to drive. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to go for a drive. I'll go work in my car. Like I'm built for this, actually. Like I'm winning right now. There's a lot of people losing, but I'm winning because over the last 20 years, this is what I've done as an entrepreneur. I work in a hotel. I'll work in a Starbucks. I'll work, wherever, but most people aren't used to that. And I understand it.
Michelle, Dr. Leno, she says you went Kanye on us. Man, I agree with you 100%. Oh my gosh, I'm sitting here like, what?
Yeah, that's my reality.
They feeling you though.
I mean, Ebony, that's the reality. There's a artist, beautiful artist named Nina Simone, and she wrote a song and put it out against her record label called Strange Fruit. And she talked about the strange fruit hanging from the trees. You know what the strange fruit she was talking about? Black men. It was black men waving in the air. Look that up. Strange fruit. Nina Simone. Jay-Z wrote a song about it. I ain't gonna give you all the clues. You gotta look it up for yourself. But I'm telling you, this is the only nation where you've seen black men hung from trees. That'll tell you right there how serious this is. You've never seen a Chinaman. You've never seen a Chaldean, an Asian, a white man, a Pan-African hung from a tree. You've never seen it. You have sent it to me. I bet you lying. But you've seen black men in droves hanging from trees. So what happens when you see somebody like strong and in beast mode, you go, oh, he's arrogant. No, I'm who I am. Please watch your mouth. I'm who I am. But you're just used to seeing me hanging from trees. You're not used to seeing me being in position, making millions of dollars, doing it big. You ain't used to that unless I'm rapping or running a football. I sit on the plane. Lady asked me, I'm sitting on the plane. Lady looked at my sleeve, my name in cursive on my sleeve. She says, oh my God, sir, who do you play for? I said, I play for the boss. She said, the boss? I said, yeah. He's the one who turns the moon. He's the one who stops the waves. He's the one who fills up the ocean. She says, oh my God, you got his card? I said, yeah, his card is Jesus.
Wow.
Let's go. So,
all right.
Next question.
Corey says he sent you a friend request. Corey Joseph. So look out for that. Ebony, she said that's that rent payment back then. And then Corey, he says that's not arrogance, that's confidence. Yeah, Jonathan definitely he's not lacking in confidence. Okay, so listen, let's I want to get into another question. And this pertains to entrepreneurs. So we've heard the phrase keep calm. I know you've heard that. They got the memes and everything. But who can really keep calm, when folks are stuck at home, losing their businesses, losing clients, feeling anxiety? So give entrepreneurs some tips on how to keep financial sanity throughout this pandemic.
Okay, so for that answer, I have to go back just a little bit.
That's fine.
My papa, Larry Edward Edison, he told me, if you decide to get into this business of entrepreneurship, as a matter of fact, I told him, I said, Dad, I want to be a motivational speaker. And my father said, what the hell is a motivational speaker? He said, because that ain't gonna pay your bills and I'm not gonna give you any help. And I said, you're right. I said, but I gotta do it. And I started doing it. And before I did it, he said, I don't care how much money you do, you save you a bag. He told me, collect a bag. Now, again, I'm going back.
And he said that word, bag. That's what we saying now. Secure the bag and all that stuff.
My daddy was a hustler. Collect the bag, okay? And the bag was, he called it, it's an in case of emergency bag, which meant you had clothes in it, you had money in it, you had your passport in it, and a second license in it in case you had to get. Now, I ain't going to get into what my daddy used to do, but he said, get you an emergency bag. Now, it goes back to something I said previously about the Jews. You make as much money as you can. You save as much as you can. You be as successful as you can. You help people that look like you. And then this time, you don't have those problems because you know what they do? They call each other. Hey, Rafi, give me 10,000. Hey, such and such. And you got your own bag already saved. Now, that's going back. Okay, let's say now you don't have a bag. Well, you don't have a bag. And the challenge right now is, as I was talking to a guy in Plano, Texas about some stuff we're getting ready to do, nothing is open. So so it's really, you got to get to the place where you have to say, it's out of my hands at this point. And I think that's what's causing people anxiety. They think if I go run down the street and take my gun, they're going to open up. They're not going to open. Nothing is open. There's nothing to do. Now, I won't say nothing to do. I will say this, and I'm just talking for me. Because I don't have anywhere to go speak, I have decided to educate myself. I've taken 4 online classes. I just finished my class on how to be a real estate agent. I just finished another class on some other information about stocks. I just finished another class, all online. All free, one I had to pay for. And I've been masterminding my business.
The real estate class was free?
No.
Oh.
No.
Some like, what?
Free, not the real estate class.
Okay.
No. So I've been masterminding. Here's what I would tell entrepreneurs to do. Mastermind your business.
Yeah.
Get yourself set up for the future because this will be over. It'll be over at some point.
Right.
And get creative. Listen, Black people, we're the most creative people on the planet. You're going to have to get creative. You might have to cut some grass. You might have to take back some bottles.
They not doing that.
You might have to put a post on. Okay, well, you might start collecting them. You might have to do something creative to bring in some income. I don't know what that is. I'm not going to give you any suggestions. I'm just telling you, you might have, hey, there's people making millions of dollars online. You might have to go and do something online. I don't know, but now is the time to be creative. We got a whole lot of energy for foolishness, but what we don't have is a whole lot of energy to be creative. I'll leave that right there.
I'm going back over here to the feed again. Ebony, she says she sent you a request. So both you guys have an awesome and blessed evening. Thank you, Ebony. Thank you for participating. We appreciate your support. So look for Ebony, Jonathan. Look for Ebony's friend request, and also for Corey Joseph.
I got it.
You'll see those. Okay. Yep. Make sure you friend request them or add them as a friend.
Okay.
So okay, this is kind of I want to ask you this. There's this term, and I'm just learning this myself. It's a term called zumped. I might not be pronouncing it right because I just read it for myself. But apparently it's a new trend where people are being dumped via Zoom. I mean, just imagine that. Wow, you know what I'm saying? You doing a Zoom with your boo or whatever, you know, and
That's
then you
funny.
get dumped. Yeah, and then also we've been hearing, you know, there's been different, you know, magazines and articles and stuff just published where, you know, people have been talking about separating from their spouse. You know, just a lot of breakups have been occurring, you know, throughout this pandemic. So where's just some motivational words you can give to anybody out here that's, you know, listening and they're in a relationship and, you know, they just want out. You know, they want to call it, they don't want to put any effort into it. They want to humble themselves. Yeah, because we know there's people out there in this type of situation.
Okay. So here's what you have. It's easy to date somebody in chunks.
What do you mean in chunks?
If you get up and go to work at 8:00, but I got up to get to work at 6, you're gone all day, I'm gone all day. You get off work at 6, I get off work at 7. So you got 6:00 to about 9:30. Everybody at 8, kids in the bed. So I really only spent 3 hours with you.
Right.
That's a chunk of time. Or if you're dating long distance, I see you every 2 weeks. Or you live across town, I see you every Friday and Saturday. You work all week, you come to my house on the weekend. Now I'm in the house with you every day. Now I got to see you 24/7. People are freaking out because they're now getting to see who the real person is who they're dating.
Right.
Who the real person is. Because we live our lives in chunks. I realize that. No one is with. Think about this. The last family vacation or vacation somebody has been on. After the 3rd day, everybody's getting like, oh my God. You know why? Because they've been around each other too much.
That's so true.
So now we done took 3 days times 10, 30 days, 40 days. I'm gonna kill you. That's all that's happening. So I don't have any suggestions, but I will say this: just take a breath, relax. You know, don't rip a family apart and all that stuff. But you getting to see who that real joker is during this time. But you know, let me say this, just globally. I have a friend. His name is Beldion Cyprian. He's the guy who actually helped me with the John dial and the app. And he's in Romania. He does that type of stuff. Well, guess what? I talked to him last week. They're having the same problem where he is in Romania. So it's a world thing. It's not local.
You mean this COVID pandemic? They having an issue? Okay.
They're on lockdown in Romania.
Yeah. Right.
So here's my point. There's going to be a lot of counseling needed once this is over.
Yeah.
Right. And that's like not a joke. Like I'm being serious. There's going to be
No.
a lot of counseling when this is over. A lot. So for those who, I mean, guess what? You can divorce her, but you can't leave the house full. So you might as well chill out.
You're a hot
You're
mess.
on lockdown.
Let me see. Trevor, he says, very true. It happens when people get married too. The chunks are bigger and people are wondering what they got themselves in.
Yeah. If I said you wake up at 6, she wake up at 8, or vice versa, you only married to somebody in chunks. That's the reality of it.
That's an interesting concept. Yeah. I mean, I understand it, but I haven't, put the analysis, in that format of chunks. Yeah, that's very true. Wow.
And let me say this. And then you throw a few kids in there. You might not see that person like four times a week, because my kids, listen, let me tell you, my kids put their stuff on the calendar. We have a master calendar, and you got football, track, cross country, basketball, soccer practice, choir practice. I mean, it's 50 things on the calendar. So being with somebody every day, and watch this, and the kids don't have nothing to do, because sometimes when you take your kids to soccer practice, you sit there and read a book. You sit there and chill out. You sit there and scroll on Facebook. You sit there and smoke a doobie. You sit there and do whatever. But now you can't take the soccer practice. You got to see me every 5 seconds. That's stress.
So let's see. Okay, listen, we've heard the word pivot. It's become extremely popular. Literally every person I see talking in an interview, on the news, whatever, you just keep hearing them throw this word pivot out, which is in reference to, shifting from your normal, from what was normal, we all had to pivot.
Mm-hmm.
So just get some strategies so people can pivot from panicking and worry and stress and anxiety and all those negative mindset things that make us go crazy. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, yes, we're in a pandemic, but that doesn't mean that you have to, just panic, So
well, this in my opinion is worth, whatever people choose to make it worth. But this is kind of your area, also mine, in the sense that now you need a lot of self-care.
Right.
This pivot is going to require a busy nation to slow down and take care of themselves. As a matter of fact, pathway 9 is take care of yourself. And it is getting rid of one behavior and then introducing yourself to another behavior. And one of the things that I do intentionally, because I've got a lot going on, is that I take care of myself. So now people who are not familiar with that concept, you want to pivot, you want to de-stress. Like I take what a lady I learned it from called a spiritual bath. Like you fill the tub up with all this stuff and rock salt and green alcohol and orange slices, and you put all this stuff. I got a whole formula, and I take a bath every night.
Just imagine a woman sitting in some alcohol. Wait a minute.
There's 2 different recipes. There's one for outer and inner. Okay.
Okay.
So, but my point is, so I do that. I make sure on some days I get up and I dress up. Some people should still do that. Like a friend of mine that I've been knowing since a kid, named Kamal Webster. Like his big thing is he gets up and gets fully dressed, like he's going to work, but he's going to the kitchen table.
Pandemic, he's been straight up getting dressed and staying at home.
He says that does something for him. It gets him juiced up. So so that works for him.
Okay.
And that's the thing. You got to find your thing. Your thing might be, maybe you never got up and did 100 sit-ups before. Well, let that be your thing now. Or get up and go for a walk. Or get up and do this new diet. Actually, it's not new. It's you don't eat before 12 and then try to lose a few
intermittent
pounds.
Fasting.
Intermittent fasting. I mean, it's not new. So you're going to have to do something different because something different is happening to you. That's how you pivot.
Yeah. What do you think about this lockdown? Do you think it's been too draconian, or or you
No,
agree?
I think based upon the CDC, and I'm not a theorist or whatever you want to call those names, but based upon thank you,
Conspiracy
conspiracy theorists, and based upon some little things, for example, if the federal government just ordered 100,000 body bags, they didn't order them to put them into storage. So do I think it's over the top? Absolutely not. Because to be quite honest with you, and let me share this, I'm going to say this from this perspective. I've been speaking 18 years. 15 of those years, I have traveled over 1,000,000 miles on Delta Airline.
Mm-hmm.
I have rented over 1,000 cars. I have unlimited miles, unlimited points. I have been to 48 of the states and 10 different countries. I've spoken to over 2 million people live. And you know what I've discovered in that process, from airports to ride shares to bathrooms to hotels, is that people are nasty. And they
I'm
and they have
germaphobic,
and they
so
have no reservation for public space. Like
yeah,
people are still out here walking up on people.
right. No
So when
boundaries.
you have no boundaries, so when you have that intrinsic nastiness, like I've seen people dig in their nose and then put their hand out and shake your hand
Wow.
and go in the bathroom and you watching them and they got an apron on. You like, I hope they wash their freaking hands, and they don't. They go back in the kitchen. I've
Right.
seen it with my own two eyes. There's no
Right.
speculation. So here's what I know. People in general are nasty massively. Did you know in China that in the public bathroom you squat over an open hole?
No, I've never been to China. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
you squat over an open hole. So people are
Wow.
nasty. So big shout out to Big Gretch for shutting it down. So we can at least put some sanitizer out, some Comet, some
You said
bleach on some stuff. Because I'm telling you, I travel with a black light because I have a friend who owns an inn. He has like 8 rooms in his inn. He said, man, you'd be surprised at what they do in my rooms. So I travel with a black light. I travel with a sleeping bag, a survival bag. All you can see is my eyes at the end of the night.
wow.
I travel. My wife got me a travel smoothie maker because I'm not using a blender downstairs. I don't know what they do. I don't eat at buffets. I travel with my own pillow, my own sheets, because people are
Yeah.
nasty. I'll say this. So you got that and a virus? No, I'm staying in the house.
Wash your hands, people. That's the most important thing. If you want to learn anything this pandemic, I hope they learn to wash their hands. Oh my gosh. Brooke is back, or maybe he never left, but he just says it's like that all over Southeast Asia.
That is correct, Brooke.
He says not just China.
Yeah, I just
Um,
yeah.
yeah. So listen, Corey, he says, I don't know if y'all heard, but I read an article stating that COVID-19 can spread by way of breathing
Okay,
in. It hasn't substantiated the claim, but it's being implied. That is false. That is very, very false. You cannot pass that you
Next
cannot pass
question.
gas and spread COVID. Yeah, there's so much misinformation out there, but nope, that is not true. But thanks for asking. Listen, so there's 2 types of people. There's people who have their fear and doubts because of this pandemic, and then there's the people who are brave and determined to work even harder throughout these challenging times. So, and your final tips, because we're wrapping this up, we have went over, but everybody on our feed has been amazing. You've been amazing, and so we just kept it going. So So there's these two types of people. So give your final tips to keep people motivated. You came on here, you said that you were a motivational speaker. We want to hear some motivational tips so that we can bounce back from this coronavirus. Because, we bounce back from everything else, H1N1, Spanish flu, all these different viruses we've had in the past. We bounce back. We strong. We're going to get there one day, but tell us what we got to do in the meantime.
The biggest tip I have, and I will quote Karen Edison on this: don't be stupid. Yeah. Because people are blatantly disregarding, you've seen it as a nurse, they're blatantly disregarding what they should be doing.
You mean
they
not
ask,
wearing masks?
not wearing masks, not washing their hands, not staying away from each other. And a big shout out to the East Side. That's where I grew up, over there by the city airport. But to watch something on Facebook where you got 300 people at a gas station, there's everybody hanging out, like you just can't do that, and you just can't do it. So that's one big tip. Like, don't be stupid. Like come on, people. Common sense. It goes back to that question: what can Black people do to get over oppression? Don't be stupid. That's just one big one. Number two, and this is on the rise, and I don't know if you've had a guest on about this, but child abuse is up right now.
No, I did not. That could be something I talk about in the future. But yeah.
If you feel like you're at your edge, don't put your hands on your kids. Please. Go for a walk. Go do something. Listen, they are just as bored, afraid, and overwhelmed as you. And you put your hand on them and abusing them.
It's going unreported because when they were in school, the teachers could discover these things, but now the kids are just at home and nobody to,
So the numbers are up because kids are smart. They got cell phones. They're calling. And the numbers are way up. So if that's the case, please don't do something different. Don't mentally and physically abuse your kids. And another motivational point, going back to what I said, be creative in these times. When we start bringing up those historical things that we've overcome, and I heard a couple people quote, when this happened, this was created and this was invented. Well, let's stop looking to those people and saying, I can be creative too. Be creative. Go to school. Here's a good one. Harvard University. And put this on your feed or do something with it. They're giving free classes right now.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
Free.
Yeah.
For technology, how to build apps, how to build a website, how to do free. Now is the time to be creative.
Yes.
And take care of yourself and be smart and be amazing.
Yeah.
And if you get bored, it's my last point. If you get bored, put a mask on, put some gloves on, find a food bank and help pass out some food.
That's good stuff. That's true. Yeah. Let's see. Just a few people on here. Corey, he says much love to Charmaine and Jonathan. I guess Corey is from the East Side too.
No doubt.
Brooke, I just love you, Brooke. Thank you so much. You're always so supportive. He calls me the bomb. Yes, I am 365 driven. And he's got jokes. He knows I'm not a mother. I put up a status the other day, so he wants to wish me. Yeah, all right. So listen, let everybody know. Wait, hold on. He's got something else. MIT has a lot of classes online for free. You don't get any credits, but the materials there. Does Harvard give credits or no?
They give credits if you put your credit card in there.
Oh.
Because it's like two levels of it. And there's one level.
It's levels to this.
You can take the class, but then the other level is they give you all the materials and all this other stuff. But you can take the class and get a certificate.
Okay. All right. And so I guess this other place you can get classes too. So listen, tell everybody how to get in contact with you. You've been a wealth of information tonight. You got so many resources to share. So let them know. Shout out your social media, website.
Everything is Jonathan Edison. Facebook is Jonathan Edison. My website is jonathanedison.com.
So right here on the screen, we got Jonathan. That's it. Boom. That's all they got to type in.
You put my name in, you get me. I am easy to find. I live in the back.
All right. Right. And y'all could always get in contact with me if you forget. But yep, Jonathan Edison. Well, listen, I want to thank you for your time. You've been amazing. I appreciate everything you've shared, your transparency, all of your advice. And I hope you stay safe and just wish you many blessings. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Peace.
We will be back here tomorrow night, 8 p.m. So make sure you tune in. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. All right. Thank you.